My granddaughter whispered it at breakfast. Grandma, Mommy said if I tell you, they'll take me away forever. 5 years old, holding that bunny like a shield. Her eyes said the rest. I put down the spatula. The eggs burned. I knew then. Something was locked in that house. Something small. Something scared. I had to act. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Tara brought Maya to me on a Tuesday night. She stood on my porch like she'd forgotten how doors work. The wind moved through the cottonwoods. The streetlight flickered. She told me it was a work shift. Another night shift. Her fingers kept twisting her purse strap. Her eyes kept checking the street. I told her Maya could stay. As long as she needed. Tara nodded, smiled thin, backed away fast. I watched her taillights disappear down the block. Then I locked the door. Inside, I warmed up chicken noodle soup. I set out Evan's old firefighter mug. The one with the chipped handle. The one I couldn't throw away. My son died 3 years ago. Engine rolled on a wet road. After that, Tara moved across town. Said she needed space. Space turned into distance. Distance turned into silence. Maya sat at the table. She's 5, small for her age. She held that bunny tight. Pepper, she calls it. The thing's been through the wash 100 times. Still gray. Still loved. I put the soup in front of her. She stirred it. Didn't eat. The TV played cartoons. She stared past them. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. I made up the cot beside my bed. Tucked her in. She sighed. Not a kid sigh. An old sigh. The kind that doesn't belong in a body that's small. I lay awake most of the night. Listening to her breathe. In the morning, I made eggs. I made toast. The kitchen smelled like butter and coffee. Maya came out holding Pepper. She sat at the table. I handed her a glass of orange juice. She looked at me. Then she looked down. She said it's so quiet I almost missed it. Mom said I'm not allowed to tell what I saw at home. I put down the spatula. I knelt beside her chair. I kept my voice calm. Steady. I asked her what she meant. She told me there was a little girl. In the basement. Behind a locked door. Crying all the time. She said the girl's hands hurt. My heart kicked hard. Once. Twice. I didn't ask if she was sure. Kids don't lie like that. I told her she was safe. I told her I'd take care of it. Then I called the police. The dispatcher answered on the second ring. I gave my name, my address. I told her what Maya said. She asked if I saw anything myself. I said no, just what my granddaughter told me. She said she'd send someone over. Her voice was flat, routine. I hung up. I looked at Maya. She was watching me, eyes wide. Bunny pressed to her chest. I told her she did the right thing. I told her I loved her. She nodded. She didn't smile. An officer came by that afternoon. Young guy. Polite. He took notes. He asked Maya a few questions. She repeated what she told me. Quiet. Careful. He wrote it down. He said they'd look into it. He said it in a way that meant he didn't believe her. He left. I stood on the porch and watched his car roll away. The street looked normal. Kids on bikes. Dogs barking. Everything looked fine. But I knew better. I've driven a city bus for 30 years. I know people. I know when someone's lying. I know when something's wrong. Tara's been off since Evan died. I gave her space. I gave her time. But this wasn't grief. This was something else. I went inside. I made lunch. I sat with Maya. She ate a little. Not much. I asked her if she wanted to watch a movie. She shook her head. She asked if she could go outside. I said yes. I watched her through the window. She sat on the back step. She talked to Pepper, like the bunny could answer. That evening, Tara called. She asked how Maya was doing. I said she was fine. I didn't mention the police. Tara said she'd pick her up tomorrow. Maybe the day after. I told her to take her time. I told her Maya was no trouble. She thanked me. Her voice sounded far away. I hung up. I stood in the kitchen. The sun was setting. The light came through the window in long orange strips. I thought about Evan. I thought about the promises I made at his funeral. I promised I'd look after his girl. I promised I'd keep her safe. I don't break promises. That night, I tucked Maya in again. I read her a story. She fell asleep holding Pepper. I turned off the light. I sat in the living room. The house was quiet. I thought about that little girl in the basement. If she was real, if Maya really saw her. I believed her. I had to, because if I didn't, no one else would. The clock ticked. The refrigerator hummed. I made myself a cup of tea. I sat at the table. I picked up Evan's mug. I held it in both hands. The ceramic was cool, smooth. I thought about him, about the man he was. Brave, kind, stubborn when it mattered. He'd want me to fight for this. He'd want me to stand. So that's what I'd do. I'd stand. I'd push. I'd make them listen, even if it cost me everything. Even if the whole street turned against me. I finished my tea. I washed the mug. I set it on the counter. Then I went to bed. Tomorrow, I'd go back to the station. Tomorrow, I'd make them hear me. Because somewhere in that house, a child was waiting. And I wasn't going to let her wait alone. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Thursday morning, I went back to the police station. Same desk. Same fluorescent lights humming overhead. The officer behind the glass looked up. Looked back down. I gave my name. I said I needed to speak to someone. About the report I filed yesterday. He checked his computer. Typed slow. One finger at a time. He told me they'd noted it. They'd follow up if needed. I asked what that meant. If needed. He said they couldn't investigate based on a child's statement alone. Not without evidence. Not without witnesses. I stood there, my purse strap cutting into my shoulder. I asked to speak to a supervisor. He sighed. He picked up the phone. 5 minutes later, Sergeant Nolan came out. Tall guy. Gray at the temples. He shook my hand. Led me to a small room. We sat across from each other. A table between us. He asked me to go through it again. Everything Maya said. I told him, word for word. He listened. He took notes. When I finished, he set down his pen. He told me he understood my concern. He called it concern. But without physical evidence, without an eyewitness, their hands were tied. I asked him about missing children. Recent reports. He said he'd check. He said he'd let me know. I thanked him. I didn't believe him. I walked out into the morning sun. It felt cold. At the grocery store that afternoon, I heard my name. 2 women by the produce. Whispering. Loud enough to hear. One said I was losing it. Going soft in the head. The other said grief does that. Poor Ruth. They saw me. Went quiet. Turned back to the apples. I pushed my cart past them. My hands steady on the handle. I bought milk, bread, chicken for dinner. At the register, the cashier smiled. Asked how I was doing. I said fine. She didn't need to know the rest. I drove home, unloaded the groceries, put everything away. Maya was in the living room, drawing with crayons. I looked over her shoulder. She'd drawn a box. Dark. Small. A stick figure inside. Arms reaching up. I asked her what it was. She said nothing. She turned the page. Started drawing flowers instead. I made us lunch. Grilled cheese. Tomato soup. We ate in silence. The clock ticked on the wall. I thought about Evan. About the time before. When this house was loud. Full of boots and laughter. When Tara smiled. When Maya giggled. That was before the accident. Before the funeral. Before the quiet. Tara moved away 6 months after we buried him. She said she needed space. A fresh start. I didn't argue. Grief does what it does. But something changed in her. Something I couldn't name. She stopped returning calls. Stopped coming by. When she did visit, she was distant. Hollow. Maya got quieter too. Started clutching that bunny. I thought it was grief. I thought time would help. Now I knew better. That afternoon, I called Maya's teacher. Mrs. Alvarez. I asked if we could meet. She said yes. Tomorrow after school. I thanked her. I hung up. Maya was watching TV. Some cartoon with bright colors. She wasn't laughing. Just staring. I sat beside her. I put my arm around her. She leaned into me. Small. Warm. I told her I loved her. She nodded against my shoulder. That evening, Tara called again. She sounded strange. She asked if anyone had come by. Police. Social workers. I told her an officer stopped by yesterday. Routine questions. She went quiet. Then she asked what I'd said. I told her the truth. That Maya mentioned something. Something strange. Tara's voice went hard. She said Maya makes things up. She said I shouldn't encourage it. Shouldn't feed into it. I asked her what she meant. She didn't answer. She said she'd come get Maya on Saturday. She hung up. I stood there. Phone in my hand. Dial tone humming. I looked out the window. The street was empty. A dog barked somewhere. A car passed. Everything looked normal. But nothing felt right. I made dinner. Spaghetti. Maya's favorite. She ate a little. Pushed the rest around her plate. I asked if she was okay. She said yes. I didn't push. After dinner, we watched a movie. Something gentle. Animated. Maya fell asleep halfway through. Pepper tucked under her chin. I carried her to the cot. Tucked her in. I turned off the light. Left the door cracked. Then I sat in the kitchen. Alone. I poured myself a glass of water. I didn't drink it. I thought about what Tara said. Maya makes things up. But I'd raised Evan. I'd watched him raise Maya. That child doesn't lie. Not like that. I thought about the drawing. The box. The reaching arms. I thought about the way Maya flinched at loud sounds. The way she went quiet when Tara's name came up. This wasn't imagination. This was memory. I got up. I went to the hallway closet. I pulled down the old photo albums. The ones from before. I flipped through them. Evan in his uniform. Tara smiling. Baby Maya. There was a picture from 2 years ago. A birthday party. Tara looked different. Thinner. Eyes somewhere else. I closed the album. I put it back. I couldn't fix the past. But I could fight for now. Tomorrow, I'd talk to Mrs. Alvarez. Get her perspective. Someone had to see what I was seeing. Someone had to believe. I went to bed. The house settled around me. I lay in the dark. Listening to Maya breathe. I thought about Evan. About the promises I made. I'd keep his daughter safe. No matter what it cost. Even if it meant standing alone. Even if it meant losing everything. The clock ticked. The wind moved through the trees outside. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow, I'd keep fighting. Tomorrow, I'd find someone who'd listen. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Friday afternoon, I met Mrs. Alvarez at the school. The hallways smelled like floor wax and old books. Kids' artwork covered the walls. Bright, messy, alive. She met me in the teacher's lounge. Coffee brewing in the corner. We sat at a small table. Plastic chairs. Scratched surface. She asked how Maya was doing at home. I told her quiet. She nodded. She'd noticed the same thing at school. Maya used to talk to the other kids. Not anymore. She sat alone at lunch. Didn't play at recess. Mrs. Alvarez showed me a folder. Maya's recent drawings inside. Every picture the same. A dark box. Crosshatched like bars. A small figure inside. Arms up. Reaching. I asked when she started drawing these. Mrs. Alvarez checked her notes. 3 weeks ago. Right after spring break. Right after Maya stayed at Tara's for a week. Mrs. Alvarez said Maya flinched at sudden noises now. Dropped pencils. Slammed doors. Loud voices. She asked if something happened at home. I told her I didn't know. But I was trying to find out. I showed her the police report number. The one from Wednesday. She wrote it down. She said she'd document everything. Behavioral changes. The drawings. The timeline. She said it might help. If it came to that. I thanked her. My throat tight. She walked me to the parking lot. The sun was low. She told me to trust my instincts. Grandmothers always know. I drove home, my hands steady on the wheel. But my mind was racing. 3 weeks. Spring break. What happened in that house? At home, Maya was watching cartoons. Pepper in her lap. I made her a snack. Apple slices. Peanut butter. She ate 1 slice. Left the rest. I sat beside her. I asked about school. She said it was fine. Her voice flat. I asked if she liked Mrs. Alvarez. She nodded. I asked if she was scared. She looked at me. Then she looked away. She said she didn't want to talk about it. I told her that was okay. I told her I loved her. She leaned against me. Small. Fragile. We stayed like that until the sun went down. That evening, Mr. Green knocked on my door. He's my neighbor. Widower. Walks with a cane. He asked if I had a minute. I invited him in. He stood in my hallway. Hat in his hands. He said he needed to tell me something. Something he saw. Last week. Tuesday night. Around midnight. He couldn't sleep. He was looking out his window. He saw Tara's car pull up to her house. Across town. He lives 2 streets over. Visits his sister nearby. He saw Tara get out. She opened the back door. She pulled out a little girl. Not Maya. Someone else. Short hair. Pajamas. Small. The girl stumbled. Tara grabbed her arm. Pulled her inside. Mr. Green heard something. A sob. Muffled. Quick. He thought maybe the kid was sick. He didn't think much of it. But now, hearing about what I reported, he remembered. He wanted me to know. I asked him if he was sure. He said yes. He said he'd tell the police if it helped. I thanked him. My heart pounding. He left. I stood in the doorway. Watching him walk away. This was it. A witness. An adult witness. I went inside. I called Sergeant Nolan. He wasn't in. I left a message. Said it was urgent. I hung up. I paced the kitchen. The linoleum squeaked under my feet. The fridge hummed. I made myself tea. I didn't drink it. Maya was already asleep. I checked on her. She was curled tight. Pepper clutched to her chest. I stood in the doorway. Watching her breathe. This child trusted me. She told me the truth. And I was going to make sure someone listened. Nolan called back an hour later. I answered on the first ring. I told him about Mr. Green. About what he saw. Nolan listened. He asked for Green's contact information. I gave it to him. He said he'd follow up. He said he'd call me tomorrow. He hung up. I sat on the couch. The house dark except the kitchen light. I thought about that little girl. The one Mr. Green saw. Pajamas. Short hair. Stumbling. Where was she now? Was she the one Maya heard crying? I got up. I went to the window. The street was quiet. Porch lights glowing. Cars parked. Tara lived across town. 20 minutes away. I hadn't been to her house in months. She never invited me. Said it was too small. Too messy. Now I wondered what she was hiding. I thought about driving over. Knocking on her door. But I didn't. That would tip her off. If there was a child in that house, I couldn't risk it. I had to wait. Let the police do their job. It felt like drowning. This waiting. I went to bed. Lay in the dark. The clock ticked. The wind rattled the windows. I thought about Evan. About the way he'd handle this. He'd be calm. Steady. He'd trust the process. But he'd also fight. He'd push. He'd protect. That's what I was doing. Fighting. Pushing. Protecting. I closed my eyes. Sleep wouldn't come. I kept seeing that little girl. Stumbling. Pulled inside. I kept hearing Maya's voice. The girl's hands hurt. Somewhere in the dark, a child was waiting. And I was going to find her. Saturday morning came slow. Gray light through the curtains. I got up. Made coffee. My hands shaking slightly. Today was the day Tara said she'd pick up Maya. I didn't want to let her go. But I couldn't keep her. Not without cause. I made breakfast. Pancakes. Maya's favorite. She ate 2 small bites. Syrup pooling on her plate. She asked when her mom was coming. I said soon. She nodded. She didn't smile. At 10, Tara's car pulled up outside. I watched through the window. She sat there. Engine running. Then her brother Drew got out. Passenger side. He walked up to the door. Knocked hard. I opened it. He stood there. Arms crossed. Face tight. He said Tara sent him. She was too upset to come in. He said I'd caused enough trouble. Calling the police. Spreading lies. He said I was trying to destroy his sister. I told him Maya told me what she saw. I had to report it. He said Maya was confused. She was 5. She didn't understand things. I asked him to leave. He didn't move. He said if I kept this up, I'd lose Maya. Lose everything. He said Tara had lawyers. She had rights. I told him again. Leave my property. He stared at me. Then he turned. Walked back to the car. Tara rolled down the window. She was crying. She looked at me. Her face twisted. Angry. Broken. She didn't say anything. Just stared. Then Drew got in. They drove away. Maya stood behind me, holding Pepper. She asked if she had to go. I said not today. Not until I knew she was safe. I closed the door. Locked it. My hands were shaking now. My chest tight. I went to the kitchen. I called Nolan. He answered. I told him what just happened. He said he'd spoken to Mr. Green. He believed him. He said they were checking missing children reports. Active cases. He said if they found a match, they'd move fast. I asked how long. He said soon. Maybe today. Maybe tomorrow. I hung up. I leaned against the counter. Maya came in. She asked if I was okay. I told her yes. I told her we were safe. She hugged me. Small arms around my waist. I held her. I closed my eyes. And I prayed. For the first time in years. I prayed. Let them find her. Let them believe me. Let this child be safe. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Saturday afternoon, Mr. Green knocked again. His face was flushed. He was breathing hard. He said his nephew worked at the corner store, 2 blocks from Tara's house. They had security cameras outside, facing the street. His nephew pulled the footage from last Tuesday night. Mr. Green handed me his phone. His hands shaking. I pressed play. The screen was small, the image grainy, but I could see it. Clear enough. 12:41 a.m. A car pulled up. Tara's car. She got out, opened the back door. A child stepped out. Small, short hair, pajamas sagging at the knees. Tara grabbed the child's arm, pulled her toward the house. The child stumbled. Tara didn't slow down. They disappeared through the front door. The timestamp kept running. I watched it 3 times. My heart hammering. This was proof. Real proof. I asked Mr. Green if I could send this to the police. He said yes. His nephew already made a copy. I forwarded the video to Sergeant Nolan. Right there, standing in my hallway. Then I called him. He answered on the 3rd ring. I told him to check his messages. He said he'd call me back. I thanked Mr. Green. He squeezed my hand. He said he hoped they'd find her. Whoever she was. He left. I stood by the door. Phone in my hand. Waiting. Always waiting. Maya was in the living room. Drawing again. I looked over her shoulder. She'd drawn a door this time. A heavy door. With a lock. Big and dark. I didn't say anything. I just touched her shoulder. She looked up at me. Her eyes so old. 20 minutes later, Nolan called back. He'd watched the video. He'd shown it to his captain. They were running it against missing children reports. Active cases. Recent ones. He said if they got a match, they'd move tonight. He told me to stay home. Keep Maya close. He said he'd call me when he knew more. I hung up. I sat on the couch. My hands were folded in my lap. Tight. I thought about that child on the video. Stumbling. Pulled. I thought about Maya's drawings. The locked door. The reaching arms. This was real. This was happening. An hour passed. Then another. I made dinner. Chicken and rice. Maya picked at it. I couldn't eat either. My stomach in knots. We watched a movie. I don't remember what it was. My eyes were on the screen. My mind somewhere else. At 8:30, my phone rang. Nolan. He said they found a match. A missing child report. Nora Parker. Age 5. Missing 2 weeks. From a town up the highway. Short brown hair. Last seen in butterfly pajamas. The description matched the video. Matched what Mr. Green saw. Nolan said they were getting a warrant. They'd execute it tonight. He asked if I wanted to be there. I said yes. He said he'd pick me up at 4 a.m. Before dawn. I said I'd be ready. I hung up. I sat there, the phone still in my hand. Maya was asleep on the couch. Pepper tucked under her chin. I carried her to the cot. Laid her down gently. She didn't wake up. Just sighed. Turned on her side. I went to my room. I didn't undress. I lay on top of the covers. Staring at the ceiling. Sleep didn't come. I didn't expect it to. I thought about Evan. About his funeral. The flag they gave me. About the promises I made. Standing by his grave. I'd protect his daughter. I'd keep her safe. Tonight, I'd keep another promise. To another child. The clock ticked. The house settled. At 3 a.m., I got up. Washed my face. Brushed my hair. I made coffee. Strong. Black. I drank 1 cup. Poured another into a thermos. At 3:50, headlights swept across my window. I put on my coat. Checked on Maya one more time. She was still asleep, breathing steady. I left a note on the kitchen table, in case she woke up. Then I locked the door behind me. Nolan was waiting in an unmarked car. Engine running. I got in. He nodded. Didn't say much. We drove through empty streets. Street lights casting long shadows. The city looked different at this hour. Quiet. Held breath. At Tara's house, other cars were already there. Parked down the block. Officers in plain clothes. A van with no markings. Nolan parked. We waited. The sky was still dark. Just a hint of gray in the east. Nolan checked his watch. He checked his phone. At 4:20, he got a text. He showed me. One word. Go. The team moved fast. Quiet. They surrounded the house. Front and back. Nolan walked up to the door. I stayed on the sidewalk. He knocked. Loud. Official. Police. Search warrant. Opened the door. Lights came on inside. A shadow moved behind the curtain. The door opened. Tara stood there. Hair messy. Eyes wide. She saw Nolan. Then she saw me. Her face changed. Twisted. She said I was destroying her. Destroying everything. She asked what gave me the right. Nolan held up the warrant. He told her to step aside. Tara didn't move. She said this was a mistake. A lie. Then Drew pushed past her. Got in Nolan's face. He said they had no right. This was illegal. Harassment. 2 officers moved forward. Stepped between them. Nolan repeated himself. Step aside. Now. Tara backed up. Crying. Shaking. Drew stood there. Fists clenched. The officers went inside. Fanning out. Room by room. I stayed outside. My coat pulled tight. The sky was lighter now. Dawn coming. I could hear footsteps inside. Doors opening. Voices. Then a shout. From the back of the house. Nolan's voice. We got a door here. Locked. Basement access. More footsteps. Heavy. Running. I heard metal scraping. A lock turning. Then a voice. Female officer. Soft. Steady. Honey, it's okay. You're safe now. We're here. And then. A sob. Small. Broken. I closed my eyes. My legs went weak. An officer came out. Young woman. Carrying a child. The child was wrapped in a blanket. Face pressed into the officer's shoulder. Her left arm was wrapped in something. A towel. Stained. The officer carried her to the ambulance. It had pulled up. Lights off. Quiet. I watched them load her in. The doors closed. The ambulance drove away. No sirens. Just gone. Inside the house, I heard Tara screaming. She said she was protecting the child. She said no one understood. No one listened. Drew was yelling too. About rights. About lawsuits. Officers came out with boxes. Evidence bags. Notebooks. Papers. Things I couldn't see clearly. Nolan came out. He walked over to me. He said they found her. Nora Parker. Alive. She was in the basement. Behind a locked door. She'd been there since she was taken. 2 weeks. Her arm was hurt. Burned. They weren't sure how bad yet. But she was alive. She was safe now. I nodded. I couldn't speak. Nolan said they were arresting Tara. And Drew. Obstruction at minimum. He said I did the right thing. He said I saved her. I didn't feel like a hero. I felt empty. 2 officers brought Tara out. Hands cuffed behind her back. She looked at me, her face wet with tears. She said I'd never understand. She said I destroyed her family. They put her in the car. She kept staring at me. Until the car pulled away. And she was gone. The sun was up now. Orange light on the houses. Neighbors were coming out, standing on their porches, watching, whispering. Nolan drove me home. We didn't talk. At my house, I got out. Thanked him. He said they'd need my statement later. I said okay. I went inside. Maya was awake, sitting at the table. She asked where I went. I said I had to help someone. She asked if I found the little girl. I said yes. She asked if the girl was okay now. I said yes. Maya nodded. She hugged Pepper. Then she hugged me, and I held her tight, while the sun came up, while the world kept turning, while somewhere a mother was holding her daughter again. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Sunday morning felt strange. Too quiet. Too bright. I made pancakes. Maya ate 3. She asked if she could go outside. I said yes. I watched her through the window, sitting on the back step, talking to Pepper, the way kids do. My phone rang twice. I didn't answer. I wasn't ready to talk yet. At noon, Sergeant Nolan called. I picked up. He said Nora Parker was at the hospital. Stable condition. Her arm had second-degree burns. They were treating it. She was dehydrated, malnourished. But she'd recover. Her parents were with her. They'd been called at dawn. They drove down immediately. 3 hours straight. Nolan said they wanted to meet me. To thank me. I told him I didn't need thanks. I did what anyone would do. He said that wasn't true. Most people look away. I didn't know what to say to that. He told me they'd found notebooks in the basement. Writings. Some kind of religious material. Extreme stuff. A name kept appearing. Caleb Thorne. Nolan said it was someone they'd been watching. A cult agitator. Someone who recruited people in grief. People in pain. He said they'd investigate the connection. See how deep it went. He said Tara was in custody. Drew too. Charges would include kidnapping, unlawful restraint, child endangerment. More charges would come as they built the case. I asked if Maya would have to testify. He said maybe, eventually, but not yet. She was too young, too fragile. I thanked him. He said he'd be in touch. I hung up. I sat at the kitchen table. The sun came through the window, warm on my hands. I thought about Tara, about the woman she used to be. Before Evan died, before the grief swallowed her. I thought about how grief can turn, can twist, how some people find support, find healing, and others find something darker, something that promises answers. Tara found Caleb Thorne, or he found her, and she believed him, whatever he told her, enough to take a child, to lock her in a basement, to hurt her. I didn't understand it. I don't think I ever would. That afternoon, neighbors started coming by. The same ones who'd whispered about me. Called me confused. Now they brought casseroles, apologies, awkward hugs. Mrs. Chen from next door brought soup. She said she was sorry. She said she should have believed me, should have supported me. I told her it was okay. I understood. Mr. Rodriguez brought bread. His wife brought flowers. They said they felt terrible. They said I was brave. I didn't feel brave. I felt tired. But I thanked them. I accepted their food, their words, because that's what neighbors do. They stumble. They repair. By evening, my kitchen counter was covered. Dishes, containers, notes. Maya came in. She looked at all of it. She asked why everyone was being nice now. I didn't have a good answer. I told her people make mistakes. People learn. She nodded. She didn't look convinced. That night, I gave my statement at the station. Everything I remembered, from Maya's first whisper to the moment Nora was carried out. A detective typed it up. I signed it. It felt official. Final. Walking out, I saw Drew being led down the hall. In cuffs. He saw me. His face went hard. He said this was all my fault. His sister was destroyed because of me. I kept walking. I didn't look back. Outside, the parking lot was dark. Stars overhead. I sat in my car. Hands on the wheel. I thought about what Drew said. About fault. About blame. I didn't destroy Tara. She made her choices. I just refused to look away. Monday morning, Mrs. Alvarez called. She said Maya could return to school whenever she was ready. She'd prepare the class. Keep things gentle. I thanked her. I said maybe next week. Maya needed time. So did I. That afternoon, Mr. Green stopped by. Without knocking this time. He looked embarrassed. He said he'd been thinking. About that night. About what he saw. He said he almost didn't say anything. Almost let it go. But something told him to speak up. To tell me. I told him I was grateful. He saved Nora's life. He shook his head. He said we saved her. Together. He said sometimes it takes a village. Even when the village is just two. After he left, I sat on the porch. The air was cooling. Maya was inside, drawing. But different pictures now. Flowers. Trees. A house with windows. Light inside. I thought about healing. How it happens in small steps. How you can't force it. Can't rush it. You just make space for it. And wait. Tuesday morning, Nolan called again. He said Nora's parents wanted to meet me. At the hospital. If I was comfortable with that. If I was ready. I said yes. He picked me up an hour later. We drove in silence. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and coffee. Fluorescent lights humming. We took the elevator to the third floor. Pediatrics. Nolan led me to a private room. He knocked softly. A woman opened the door. Early 30s. Red eyes. Tired smile. She said her name was Jennifer. Nora's mom. Behind her, a man stood. Tall. Beard. He said he was Michael. And there, on the bed, was Nora. Small. Pale. Left arm bandaged. But her eyes were open. Alert. Jennifer took my hand. She said they didn't have words. She said I gave them their daughter back. I told her I just listened. I just believed. Michael's voice cracked. He said most people wouldn't have. He said they'd spent 2 weeks in hell. Not knowing. Not sleeping. Now they had her back. Because of me. I didn't know what to say. So I just nodded. Jennifer asked if I wanted to say hello to Nora. I walked closer. Slowly. Nora looked at me, her eyes serious. I told her my name. I told her I was glad she was safe. She didn't say anything, just watched me. Then she held out her hand. The unbandaged one. I took it. Small fingers. Warm. She squeezed once. Then let go. It was enough. Jennifer walked me to the door. She said they owed me everything. She said when Nora was better, they'd like to visit. Bring her to meet Maya. She said maybe the girls could be friends. Maybe we could be family. I told her I'd like that. Outside, Nolan drove me home. The sun was high. I felt lighter. Like something had been set down. At home, Maya was waiting. She asked where I went. I told her I met Nora. The little girl from the basement. Maya's eyes went wide. She asked if Nora was okay. I said yes. She's getting better. She's with her mom and dad. Maya asked if she could meet her someday. I said yes. Someday soon. That night, I made dinner. Real dinner. Meatloaf. Mashed potatoes. Green beans. Maya ate everything. Asked for seconds. After dishes, we sat on the porch. The sky turning purple. Crickets singing. A breeze moving through the trees. Maya asked if I was a hero. Her voice small. I told her no. I told her she was the hero. She's the one who spoke up. Who told the truth, even when she was scared. Even when it was hard. I told her heroes are just people who refuse to be silent. People who stand up, even when they're alone. She thought about that. Then she leaned against me. We sat there until the stars came out. Until the air turned cool. Until it was time for bed. Inside, I tucked her in. Kissed her forehead. She asked if Mommy was coming back. Her voice quiet. I told her the truth. I didn't know. Probably not for a long time. She nodded. She pulled Pepper close. She asked if she could stay with me. I said yes. As long as she needed. She smiled. Small but real. Then she closed her eyes. And fell asleep. I stood in the doorway. Watching her breathe. I thought about Evan. About the man he was. About the promises I made at his grave. I'd kept them. His daughter was safe. And somewhere across town, another daughter was safe too. I turned off the light. Went to my room. And for the first time in weeks, I slept. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Wednesday morning, the news vans arrived. They parked across the street. Cameras pointed at my house. A reporter knocked on my door. Young woman. Microphone in hand. She asked if I'd comment on the rescue. The heroic grandmother story. I told her no thank you. I closed the door. Through the window, I watched them film the house anyway. Maya asked what they wanted. I said they were just doing their job. She asked if we were famous. I said no. We were just people. By afternoon, the vans were gone. On to the next story. That's how it works. One day you're news. The next you're not. I preferred it that way. Thursday morning, Sergeant Nolan called. He said the investigation was expanding. State level now. They'd found evidence linking Tara to Caleb Thorne's group. Meetings. Recordings. Financial transactions. Thorne preached about saving children from a corrupt world. About protecting them through isolation. Through discipline. It was a twisted logic. Dangerous. Nolan said other members were being questioned. Other families investigated. He said Nora might not be the only victim. That thought made my stomach turn. He said Tara was cooperating now. Talking. She claimed she believed she was protecting Nora. Saving her. From what, she couldn't explain. Or wouldn't. He said her lawyer was building an insanity defense. Diminished capacity. Grief. Manipulation. Cult indoctrination. I didn't know how I felt about that. Yes, Tara was grieving. Yes, someone exploited that grief. But she still made choices. She still hurt a child. There had to be accountability. Even for the broken. Friday afternoon, Mrs. Alvarez stopped by. She brought a card. Handmade. From Maya's classmates. Get well soon. We miss you. Come back. Crayon drawings. Stickers. Crooked hearts. Maya read it 3 times. She smiled. Really smiled. Mrs. Alvarez said the class was ready. Whenever Maya wanted to return. She said they'd been gentle with the truth. Age appropriate. Maya's grandmother helped find a missing girl. Maya was very brave. No details. No trauma. Just enough. I thanked her. I asked if Monday would work. She said perfect. She'd prepare Maya's desk. her favorite spot by the window. After she left, Maya asked if she had to go back. I said no, not if she wasn't ready. She thought about it. Then she said she wanted to try. She said she missed her friends, missed coloring, missed recess. I told her we'd take it one day at a time. If it was too much, she could come home. No questions. She nodded. She hugged Pepper. Then she asked if Pepper could come to school too. I said I'd pack him in her backpack, just in case. That weekend, the Parkers called. Jennifer said Nora was being discharged, coming home on Sunday. She asked if they could visit on Monday afternoon, after Maya's school day. She said Nora wanted to meet her, the girl who told. I said yes. I'd make cookies. We'd keep it simple. Jennifer's voice broke. She said she couldn't wait. Sunday evening, I baked chocolate chip cookies. Maya helped, measuring flour, cracking eggs, licking the spoon. The kitchen smelled like butter and sugar. Like normal. We ate 3 cookies warm from the oven. Drank cold milk. Maya asked what Nora would be like. I said I didn't know. Probably quiet. Probably shy. Probably still healing. Just like Maya. Monday morning came too fast. I packed Maya's lunch. Made her favorite, peanut butter and jelly. I tucked Pepper into her backpack. Zipped it halfway. His ears sticking out. We drove to school. Maya was quiet, hands folded in her lap. In the parking lot, she didn't move. Just stared at the building. I asked if she was okay. She nodded, but she didn't get out. I told her I'd walk her in. She said okay. Mrs. Alvarez met us at the classroom door. Warm smile. Gentle voice. She told Maya her friends were waiting. Her desk was ready. Maya took a breath. She held my hand. Squeezed once. Then she let go. Walked inside. I watched through the window. Kids waved. Maya waved back. She sat down. Pulled out her crayons. Mrs. Alvarez gave me a thumbs up. I left. In the car, I cried. Just a little. Relief. Pride. Exhaustion. All of it. Then I drove home. Made myself tea. Waited. At 3, I picked her up. She came out smiling. She said it was good. She said she made a picture. A rainbow. With her name in the corner. Big letters. She said everyone was nice. No one asked weird questions. She said she wanted to go back tomorrow. I told her I was proud of her. At home, we had 30 minutes before the Parkers arrived. Maya changed her shirt, brushed her hair, put on her favorite shoes. She was nervous. I could tell. I told her it was okay to be nervous. Meeting new people was hard. She asked what if Nora didn't like her. I said that wouldn't happen. I said Nora already knew Maya was brave, was kind. The doorbell rang at 4. Right on time. I opened the door. Jennifer stood there, holding Nora's hand. Michael was behind them, carrying a gift bag. Nora looked small, pale, her left arm still bandaged. But her eyes were clear, watching everything. I invited them in. We sat in the living room. Maya stayed close to me, Pepper in her arms. Nora sat close to Jennifer, watching Maya. For a minute, no one said anything. Then Nora pointed at Pepper. She asked what his name was. Maya said Pepper, her voice quiet. Nora said she used to have a bunny named Cotton. She said she missed Cotton. Her voice small. Maya held out Pepper. She said Nora could hold him if she wanted. Nora looked at Jennifer. Jennifer nodded. Nora took Pepper, held him carefully. She stroked his ears. She almost smiled. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. She wiped them fast. Michael cleared his throat. He handed me the gift bag. He said it wasn't much. Just a thank you. Inside was a photo frame. Silver. Simple. And a card. Handwritten. It said they'd never forget what I did. What Maya did. It said they'd be forever grateful. Forever in our debt. I told them there was no debt. I told them I was just glad Nora was safe. Jennifer said she wanted us to stay in touch. Be part of each other's lives. She said Nora needed friends. Needed people who understood. And so did they. I told her I'd like that. Maya nodded. Shy but sure. The girls sat on the floor. Sharing pepper. They didn't talk much. Just sat. Close. Two small survivors. Finding their way. We ate cookies. Drank lemonade. Kept things light. After an hour, the Parkers stood to leave. Nora handed Pepper back to Maya. She said thank you. Maya said Nora could visit anytime. Pepper too. At the door, Jennifer hugged me. Long. Tight. She whispered thank you. Over and over. I told her to take care. To call if they needed anything. They walked to their car. Nora turned. Waved. Maya waved back. Then they were gone. Inside, Maya asked if we could see them again soon. I said yes. Whenever they were ready. Whenever we were ready. She said she liked Nora. Said Nora understood things. I asked what things. She said the scared things. The quiet things. I nodded. I understood. That night, Maya fell asleep fast. Pepper tucked close. I sat on the porch. The stars bright overhead. I thought about the week. About everything that had shifted. Maya back in school. Nora back home. Two families stitched together by trauma. By survival. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty. But it was healing. Slowly. Carefully. I thought about Evan. About the promises I made. I'd kept them. His daughter was safe. Was loved. Was healing. And I'd helped another child. Another family. That was enough. I went inside. Locked the door. Turned off the lights. Tomorrow would come. And we'd face it. Together. One day at a time. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The next 2 weeks passed in a rhythm. Steady. Quiet. Maya went to school every day. Came home smiling most days. Some days she was quiet. Withdrawn. That was okay too. Healing isn't a straight line. I learned that years ago. The Parkers came by twice. Short visits. Gentle. The girls played in the backyard. Drew pictures. Shared snacks. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. They understood each other in ways words couldn't reach. Jennifer and I drank coffee. Talked about small things. The weather. Recipes. School schedules. We didn't talk about the basement. About the trauma. About Tara. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Some things don't need words. Mr. Green stopped by most afternoons. Brought decaf. Stayed for half an hour. He'd sit on the porch. Watch the street. Make small talk. He said he felt responsible somehow. For not acting sooner. I told him he acted when it mattered. That was enough. He said he still dreamed about that night. The girl in pajamas. Stumbling. I told him I dreamed about it too. We all carried something. Mrs. Alvarez sent home progress reports. Maya was doing well. Participating in class. Playing with friends. Drawing happy pictures. Not every day. But most days. She said Maya still flinched at loud sounds. Still clutched Pepper sometimes. But she was laughing again. That was progress. I framed one of Maya's drawings. Hung it in the kitchen. A house with windows. Light yellow. A tree with apples. 2 stick figures holding hands. One tall. One small. She said it was me and her. Our house. I looked at it every morning. Reminded myself why I fought. 3 weeks after the rescue, Sergeant Nolan called. He said Tara had been formally charged. Multiple counts. Kidnapping, unlawful restraint, child endangerment, assault. Her trial was set for next year. Months away. He said the state was building a case against Caleb Thorne too. Conspiracy, coercion, fraud. They'd found other victims, other families, people who'd lost money, lost time, lost themselves. Tara wasn't alone. That didn't excuse her, but it explained something. Nolan said Drew had been released. Lesser charges. Obstruction only. He'd paid bail. Left town. No one knew where. That was fine by me. I didn't need to see him again. I asked about Maya, about testifying. Nolan said probably not. She was too young. Her statement was enough. But they might need me. To explain the timeline. The warning signs. I said I'd do whatever they needed. He thanked me. Said he'd be in touch. I hung up. Stood by the window. The street looked normal. Kids on bikes. Dogs barking. Life continuing. It was strange. How the world just moved on. How trauma could crack your life open. And everyone else just kept walking. But maybe that was good. Maybe normal was the goal. That weekend, the neighborhood threw a block party. Annual thing. End of summer. Potluck and music. I almost didn't go, but Maya wanted to. She said her friends would be there. She wanted to play. So we went. I brought potato salad. Maya carried pepper. The street was closed off. Tables set up. Grills smoking. Kids ran everywhere. Chalk on the pavement. Laughter in the air. People came up to me. Thanked me. Again. Some awkward. Some genuine. All well-meaning. I smiled. Said thank you. Moved on. Mrs. Chen introduced me to her sister. Visiting from California. She said I was a hero. Saved a little girl's life. I told her I just did what needed doing. She said most people wouldn't. Most people would stay quiet. I didn't know how to respond to that. So I just nodded. Maya played with her classmates. Tag. Hide and seek. Normal kid things. I watched from a folding chair. Plate of food in my lap. Mr. Green sat beside me. We didn't talk much, just watched. The sun was warm. The music was too loud. But it felt good. It felt like community, like belonging, like maybe we'd come through something together. Later, as the sun set, the Parkers arrived. Jennifer waved. Michael carried a watermelon. Nora held Jennifer's hand. They joined us. Set up nearby. Nora saw Maya. Her face brightened. The girls ran off together. Toward the bounce house. Jennifer sat beside me. She looked lighter. Less haunted. She said Nora was sleeping better. Eating better. Talking more. She said they'd started therapy. Family sessions. Individual sessions. It was hard. But it was helping. She said Nora asked about Maya every day. Wanted to see her. I told her Maya was the same. Always asking when Nora would visit. Jennifer said maybe we could make it regular. Fridays after school. A play date. Something the girls could count on. I said that sounded good. Really good. We sat there, watching our girls laugh. Watching them heal. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't fixed. But it was better. And better was enough. That night, after the party, Maya asked if we could keep Nora. Not keep her, but have her be part of our family. Like a sister. Or a cousin. Something permanent. I told her Nora had a family. A mom and dad who loved her. But yes, we could be part of her family too. Families aren't just blood. They're choice. They're love. Maya thought about that. Then she smiled. She said she liked having a friend who understood. I asked what she meant. She said Nora knew about the scared, about the nightmares, about the way some sounds hurt. She said her other friends were nice, but they didn't get it. Nora got it. I held her close. I told her I was glad she had Nora. And I was glad she had me. She said she was glad too. A month after the rescue, I went back to Evan's grave. I hadn't been since the funeral. Couldn't face it, but now I needed to. Needed to tell him. The cemetery was quiet. Trees whispering. Birds calling. I found his marker. Simple. His name. His dates. Beloved son and father. I knelt down. Brushed away some leaves. I told him I'd kept my promise. Maya was safe. She was healing. She was loved. I told him about Nora. About the rescue. About the fight. I told him I was tired. But I was okay. I told him I missed him. Every day. But I was proud. Proud of Maya. Proud of myself. Proud that we'd stood up. That we'd spoken. The wind moved through the trees. Warm. Gentle. I stayed for a while. Just sitting. Just being. Then I stood up. Wiped my eyes. I told him I'd be back. I'd bring Maya next time. I walked back to the car. The sun bright overhead. I felt lighter. Like I'd set something down. At home, Maya was drawing at the kitchen table. She looked up. Asked where I went. I told her I visited Daddy's grave. Told him about us. She asked if he was proud. I said yes. Very proud. She went back to her drawing. Content. I made dinner. Chicken and rice. Maya's favorite. We ate together. Talked about school. About Nora. About the weekend. Normal things. Beautiful things. After dinner, we sat on the porch. The sky turning pink. Maya asked if things would always be okay now. I told her the truth. Some days would be hard. Some days would be easy. But we'd face them together. Always together. She leaned against me. Small. Warm. Safe. I held her close. Watched the stars come out. I thought about everything we'd been through. Everything we'd survived. The fear. The doubt. The fight. The rescue. The healing. The community. The hope. It wasn't over. Trauma doesn't just disappear. But we were on the other side. We were building something new. Something stronger. I kissed the top of Maya's head. I told her I loved her. She said she loved me too. We sat there until the mosquitoes came out. Until the air turned cool. Until it was time for bed. Inside, I tucked her in. Read her a story. She fell asleep holding Pepper. A smile on her face. I turned off the light. Left the door cracked. Then I went to my room. Sat on the edge of the bed. I picked up Evan's firefighter mug. Held it in my hands. I'd kept my promise. To him. To Maya. To myself. I'd stood when it mattered. I'd fought when it was hard. And we'd won. Not perfectly. Not easily. But we'd won. I set down the mug. Turned off the light. Tomorrow would come. With its challenges. Its joys. Its ordinary moments. And we'd face it. Together. One day at a time. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Fall came quietly. Leaves turning gold. Air turning crisp. Maya started first grade. New teacher. New classroom. New challenges. But she walked in with her head up. Pepper in her backpack. She was ready. The Parkers became regulars. Every Friday after school. The girls did homework together. Played in the yard. Made up games. Sometimes they were loud. Sometimes they whispered secrets. Always they were healing. Together, Jennifer and I became friends. Real friends. We traded recipes, complained about insurance, laughed about nothing. She invited me to Nora's therapy sessions once. Family day. I sat in the waiting room, drank bad coffee, flipped through magazines. When they came out, Nora hugged me tight. Jennifer said Nora had talked about me, about Maya, about how we saved her, how we believed her. The therapist said that mattered. Being believed, being seen. It helped kids heal, helped them trust again. I didn't know what to say, so I just hugged Nora back. October brought news. Sergeant Nolan called. Caleb Thorne had been arrested. Federal charges. Conspiracy, wire fraud, exploitation of vulnerable persons. They'd found dozens of victims. People he'd manipulated, exploited. People grieving, people desperate, people looking for answers. He'd given them lies, taken their money, twisted their pain. Nolan said Tara was cooperating, testifying against him. It might reduce her sentence. Might not. That was up to the judge. Up to the lawyers. I asked if it was over. He said not yet. Trials take time. Justice moves slow. But the pieces were coming together. The truth was coming out. I thanked him. Hung up. I stood in the kitchen. Sun coming through the window. I thought about Tara. About the woman she'd been. Before Evan died. Before Thorne got to her. She was kind once. Funny. Full of life. Grief had hollowed her out. Made her vulnerable. And Thorne had filled that hollow with poison. It didn't excuse what she did. Nothing could. But it explained it. A little. I hoped she'd find peace someday. In prison or after. I hoped she'd understand what she'd done. What she'd lost. But mostly I hoped Maya would be okay. Would grow up whole. That was what mattered now. Halloween came. Maya dressed as a firefighter. Evan's old badge pinned on. She said she wanted to be brave like Daddy. Like me. I didn't cry. Not until she was out the door. Nora dressed as a butterfly. Wings glittering. Face painted. They trick-or-treated together. Jennifer and I following behind. The night was clear. Stars bright. Air cold. Kids everywhere. Laughter. Squeals. Joy. Normal. Beautiful. Ordinary. We walked for 2 hours. The girls' bags getting heavy. At home, we sorted candy. Traded favorites. Ate too much chocolate. Maya fell asleep on the couch. Face sticky. Smiling. I carried her to bed. Tucked her in. I stood there, watching her breathe. This child had been through so much. Had seen so much. But she was still here. Still laughing. Still believing in good. That was resilience. That was strength. November brought Thanksgiving. The Parkers invited us over. Their house smelled like turkey and pie. Warm. Welcoming. Extended family was there. Grandparents. Cousins. Aunts. Uncles. They welcomed us like we belonged. Like we were family. Jennifer introduced me as Nora's guardian angel. Her extra grandmother. People shook my hand. Thanked me. Some cried. I told them I was just glad Nora was home. At dinner, we held hands around the table. Said grace. Michael said he was thankful for second chances. For answered prayers. For the grandmother who refused to look away. Jennifer squeezed my hand. Her eyes wet. I looked at Maya. At Nora. At this table full of people. I thought about Evan. About the empty chair he'd left. But I also thought about the chairs that had been filled. The family we'd built. The connections we'd made. From tragedy. From trauma. From standing up. I said I was thankful too. For all of it. After dinner, the girls played in the backyard. Leaves everywhere. They jumped in piles, threw handfuls at each other, laughed until they coughed. Jennifer and I watched from the porch, coffee in hand. She said she couldn't imagine her life without us now. She said we were part of their story, their family, their healing. I told her the feeling was mutual. She asked if I ever regretted it. Speaking up, fighting. I said no, never. Even on the hard days. Even when I felt alone. I'd do it again, 1,000 times. Because some things are worth fighting for. Worth standing for. Children. Truth. Justice. Jennifer nodded. We stood there, watching our girls. 2 survivors. 2 fighters. 2 friends. Building something new. Something better. December brought the first snow. Maya woke up squealing. She'd never seen this much snow before. Just dustings. Flurries. This was real snow. Deep. White. Magical. We bundled up. Went outside. Made snow angels. Built a snowman. Had a snowball fight. Mr. Green came out. Watched from his porch. Laughing. He said he hadn't seen me smile like that in years. I realized he was right. I was smiling. Really smiling. Not just for Maya, but for me. I was happy. Genuinely happy. After everything. After all the pain. All the fear. There was joy again. There was light. That night, Maya asked if we could invite Nora over for Christmas. I said I'd ask. But they probably had family plans. She said that was okay. She just wanted Nora to see our tree. To see the lights. To have cocoa with marshmallows. I told her we'd make it happen. Somehow. I called Jennifer. She said they'd love to come. Christmas Eve. Just for a few hours. They'd bring cookies. We'd make cocoa. Keep it simple. Christmas Eve arrived cold and clear. Stars everywhere. The house smelled like pine and cinnamon. Lights twinkling. I'd hung stockings. 3 of them. 1 for me. 1 for Maya. 1 for Evan. I couldn't take his down. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The Parkers arrived at 6. Arms full of cookies and gifts. The girls ran to the tree. Oohing and awing. We drank cocoa. Ate cookies. Sang carols badly. Michael played guitar. Jennifer had a beautiful voice. Maya and Nora sat on the floor. Pepper between them. They looked content. Peaceful. Safe. At 8, the Parkers stood to leave. Early morning tomorrow. But Jennifer pulled me aside first. She handed me an envelope. Said not to open it yet. She said it was just a little something. To say thank you. I tried to refuse. She wouldn't let me. She hugged me. Whispered thank you. Again. After they left, I opened the envelope. Inside was a card. And a check. More money than I'd ever seen. The card said they wanted to help. With Maya's education. With anything we needed. They said they owed us everything. This was just a start. I sat down. Stared at the check. I didn't need their money. Didn't want it. But I knew they needed to give it. Needed to do something. So I'd accept it. Put it away for Maya. For college. For her future. That was the right thing. The kind thing. Christmas morning, Maya woke up early. Excited. Glowing. We opened presents. Small things. Practical things. Loving things. She gave me a drawing. Framed. Her at school. She said Mrs. Alvarez helped her. Said it was her best work. I hung it in the living room. Right next to the first one. 2 pictures. 2 moments. 1 journey. That afternoon, we video called Evan's parents. They lived in Florida. Too far to visit often. But we stayed connected. They asked about Maya. About school. About life. I told them she was doing well. Growing. Healing. They asked about the rescue. About Tara. About everything. I gave them the basics. Not too much. Not too little. They said they were proud of me. Proud of Maya. They said Evan would be proud too. I believed them. After the call, Maya and I sat by the tree. Lights glowing. House quiet. Peace settling. She asked if this was what happy felt like. I said yes. This is exactly what happy feels like. She smiled. Leaned against me. We sat there until the sun went down. Until the lights were the only brightness. Until it was time for bed. Later, alone in my room, I thought about the year. About everything we'd survived. Everything we'd lost. Everything we'd gained. It had been hard. Harder than anything I'd ever done. But we'd made it. We'd come through. Maya was safe. Nora was home. The truth was told. That was enough. That was everything. I picked up Evan's mug. Held it close. I told him we were okay. We were more than okay. We were healing. We were whole. We were happy. I set it down. Turned off the light. Tomorrow would come. With new challenges. New joys. New moments. And we'd face it. Together. Always together. One day at a time.